Now let us make a full screen activity in our Android Studio. So this can also be done by calling the new activity and the full screen activity that you can find here. It will give you something of this sort, or you may also custom code your own full screen activity, but this will take you a lot of time and is not recommended unless and until you are making something too out of way, so that you may handle it. But it is always recommended to let Android programming or Android Studio do the stuff for you, as this will help you to avoid bugs. Now the full screen activity should extend any kind of activity, and in this activity actually your activity goes full screen and hides all available items, even the status bar. So you can also set first a boolean auto hide is equal to true or false, then there is a auto hide delay milliseconds, and then you have to also specify the delay. Also declare a final handler is equal to new handler, and then you have a view, and then you have a runnable. In your new runnable, you have to specify a public function returning a method void, a run function which has to override, and then in that you have to set the system UI visibility to any of these following values as view.system UI flag low profile, system.UI flag full screen, all inheriting from this view class. And then as you can see, this is the OR operator, and similarly you must be aware that this is the and not operator. Now moving on, you can pass the set system UI visibility in your M content view in your new runnable. A runnable is the kind of a background thread that you program so that it can be called, and these type of threads run in background and don't interfere from the UI, thus preventing hanging or stopping of any kind of systems our app may be running on. And you need a private view as already I have set here, so there is no need to overwrite it. And then you can have other parts as follows. Similarly, you may be implementing a lot of methods here to actually set up and control what is actually going to happen. Now we can see that there is a private view M controls view, and then you need to have a separate M content view. So these are the two views that you need to have. Then there will be also a runnable for setting up the action bar by getting the get support action bar, and if it is not equal to null, we will show it, and then we can set its visibility to view.visible. You may set its visibility to none to hide the action bar also during your runtime. Finally, there will be a boolean of mVisible, and there will be another runnable to hide an Android activity, and this hide method is basically defined in the same activity. So basically it hides our action bar, and it also sets the views control visibility to none, that's view.gone parameter, and then it removes any callbacks, and it does it in a animated or transitive state by calling mHide handler, that's your handler, or post delete, and then the runnable that you have created, part 2 runnable that I was discussing here, we are setting the UI to none. And then finally you have to make a view.onTouch listener, which will be a new view.onTouch listener accepting a view, a motion event. And then if auto hide evaluates to true, then you have to delay your hiding of status bar so that it looks a smooth transition and it's not quick and fast for user to understand. Then in your onCreate move, you have to override it, and also you have to set mVisible to true or false as per your wish. Then you have to get the M controls view and the M content views. So basically M controls view is the view for controls, and M content view is the view for the content, and this is how your activity will be looking like. So basically there is a frame layout, and in that you have a text view and then I have another frame layout nested in it, which will be having a web view with a linear layout containing a button. And you can also specify the styling and arrangement, so they both arranged properly and no element overlaps the other. and this is how the overall presentation look like. So this will be a web view or kind of a mini browser with a dummy button here, and you can see I have set carefully all the dimensions to enable a smooth viewing of the UI. Now coming back, I have this gathered both the kind of views, and then I set the on-click listener for these views. So whenever you are setting the on-click listener for the content view, you have to, this will execute the method toggle. Now toggle basically toggles the visibility of the other controls like the action bar and the status bar, calling the hide and show method respectively as defined. They can also call a on post create method and first pass it to super, and this will trigger the initial hide so that the hide is delayed by some time, as shown here. Is again a function for delayed hide which accepts in delay milliseconds, and then it uses a remove callbacks function on the mHide handler, and then it also calls a post delete function and hide runnable that we just created above, and the second argument is delay in milliseconds. Then you can also use the onCreate method to set up your basic elements in your full screen activity. So this is how basically you set up a new full screen activity. And here you must also notice that I am loading a URL in the web view from a local asset. So basically your app can have also assets stored offline. So basically in its package you can have an assets folder which can be created by left clicking your main package, and you can create a new and then Android resource directory. This will create an assets folder, and that you can have any file with any sort of content that you are planning to use in an application. Now here I am trying to load the URL by using a schema file colon and then 3 forward slashes. Remember the folder name is Android assets, while here I will be calling the Android asset. There is no s slash your file name or the relative file path as described here. So this was all about full screen activity in Java based Android. So basically this is Android programming to create a full screen activity, and then you can automatically run this app and see the effects.